So my name's Michelle Ortiz, and I have the great pleasure of working for Emily's List. It's full circle to be here in the Castro Theater in front of you. Gosh, so much to talk about. As you can see, this is me at 17. Don't hold it against me. Red was in back then. I'm a Texan by birth. Yeah, I'm from El Paso, Texas, and I grew up in a very homogeneous city and an environment. Most people were referred to as mija and mijo, and that could actually be reflective of anyone's child. I grew up Catholic as everybody else did and went to an all-girls Catholic school for 13 years and survived. I learned two things, learned many things. I learned about guilt, and I also learned about the power of putting really smart women in a room in a collective. It was an incredible time, and I went on to take that and went to the University of Texas at Austin. Go Longhorns, woo! All right, and because Austin was a collective hotbed for progressive political politics, and I wanted to be in the center of that. I went from graduating with 78 women to graduating with 50,000 people on campus. So it was an interesting change for me, but one that I really loved. I immediately, when I got into Austin, signed up to volunteer on Ann Richards' campaign, who was running for re-election at the time. Yes. And if you know anything about Ann, she was a saucy, big-haired, 5'2", witty woman who would say whatever was on her mind and make it brilliant. She shook up Texas in a way that I don't think it's been shook up again. But it was an incredible experience and one that I will forever remember. But it kept me in politics for 23 years. I know, I've survived it for 23 years, people. It's been an incredible experience. I have been working with Emily's List for 5 years, and prior to that, I worked on gay rights at Equality California and marriage equality with the No on 8 campaign for 6 years. So it's been quite the journey. This year, we actually, with my cohorts, we were able to surpass all goals and raise $90 million to elect pro-choice Democratic women. So when I arrived into Austin, it was at a time in 1993 when the Year of the Woman had just happened. 1992 brought 20 new additional congressional women to the House and 4 additional women to the Senate. And those 4 women to the Senate were also our 2 senators, Senator Barbara Boxer and Feinstein, and the first African-American woman to serve in the Senate, which was Carrie Mosley Braun from Illinois, who was amazing, and our first soccer mom, which was Patty Murray. So these women were just rocking the house, and they knew what was going on. At the time I learned, I had heard about this Emily. Who is Emily? I never knew who Emily was, but Emily came with like a lot of friends and a lot of money and power. It was later that I found out that Emily's List was an organization and actually an acronym. It stood for Early Money is Like Yeast, it makes the dough rise, and the idea being that when you brought early money in, it brought the support that you needed to create more support. Our founder was an incredibly brilliant woman who knew that her name was Ellen Malcolm. Many of you probably have met her along the way. She knew that women were not going to get elected because the Democratic Party had decided that women couldn't raise the money. So she was part of the first Kickstart campaign. And she put all her women together, and she brought all their Rolodexes in, and she said, we're gonna elect the first woman, and we're gonna make this possible. Well, of course she did. And the first woman to be elected in her own right was Barbara Makowski in 1986. When Barbara actually arrived, she's a social worker by trade. She's about 5'3", and like all brassy women, she arrived and there was no women's bathroom in the Senate. So every single time that she would have to go to the restroom, she had to go down 3 floors. That is in 1986 in the United States of America. So she was, this is Barbara Makowski, and if you've ever met her, the woman will go to any length. And she would just be known for saying, all right, boys, I'm coming in, and there's nothing I haven't seen before, to the men's bathroom, and that's sort of how she dealt with it. So the status of women's representation, where are we? We represent less than 20% in Congress. We have 21 women in the Senate right now, 16 Democrats, 5 Republicans, 83 women in the House, 62 Democrats, and 21 Republicans. Of those, 4 of the women of color are in the Senate, which we keep trying to get more and more of, and 34 in the House. When you look at this graph, you can actually see the power of an organization like Emily's List has. In the last 32 years, you can see that our number in the Democratic Party has continued to rise for women's leadership. As you can see in the red, Republicans' leadership for their women continues to stay somewhat stagnant. There's a number of reasons why this is. One, the Republican Party hasn't actually put a real focus on this, and there's no other organization like us on the Republican side. So you can see how Emily's List has actually really brought in a number so high as we're not stagnant anymore. Where are our numbers? Where is Emily's List? $500 million we've raised in the last 32 years. 116 women we've elected to the House, 23 women senators, 12 governors, over 800 women elected to state and local office, and we've trained nearly 10,000 women. I want something to be highlighted because I think it's something that people don't know about us, but 40% of our candidates are also women of color, and every single woman currently serving who's Latina, African American, and Asian American as a senator or congresswoman is because we brought them there. Thank you. We work on it. How do we compare? This is really interesting because every single time I want to show a success, I want to show where we actually are because I want us to work. Where are we? We rank 104th in the country. In the world. Not in the country, in the world. Look who's on top of us. Rwanda, Slovenia, Afghanistan. This number needs to change. Why is this? Why are we so behind? There's a number of reasons. Women are less likely to run. Our research has shown that they're less likely to run for several reasons. They're less often asked. They don't feel like they have the political networks or the financial support. And they're balancing caregiving responsibilities with their professional careers, which is a really big one. Whenever we ask a woman to run, we have them talk to other senators that also have kids because they don't know how they can actually balance those challenges, and they really want to make sure that they do. And of course, I know this one's going to surprise everyone in the room, but there's the assumed sexism. Women candidates really look to do it for a different reason. I know that most men wake up every day and they know they want to do it, and women actually do it because they want to fix a problem. We go at it and we see that there's potholes and we're like, we're going to go to city government. We look at it and we go into our school systems and we see that we want to work for community colleges. If you look at this, we found our research is at the motivators are several different things. One, there was obviously to fix the problem. And look at 44% though. Someone asked them to run was the second largest one. So I have a big challenge in this room today because I'm going to ask everyone to run. That's right. Yeah, you better get ready. So why women? People ask me this all the time. I travel all the time and I talk to men and women ask me the same thing. Why women? We're just more effective. I know this is a surprise. In our research, we found that 9% of our federal spending are brought back, women bring it back to their own districts. We sponsor more legislation than our male colleagues. We also have to overcome all the sexism in Congress in order to do this. So there's a lot of different factors. The things that we tend to work on in policies are the things that impact women and children. Look at this: reproductive rights, education, equal pay for equal work, paid family leave. I know these are a surprise to everyone in the room. This is what true leadership looks like. Wendy Davis was on the Senate floor. Yes, filibustering SB 5, which was the 20-week abortion, but which is essentially closing all of the clinics around the state. What you don't know is that Wendy Davis actually had brought a nurse to bring in a catheter, knowing that she was going to go for a 13-hour filibuster. She went for 11 hours, she told me she wore the long jacket just because she didn't know if the catheter was going to keep. I mean, this is what women's leadership does. They go to the mat. So how do we fix it? We get ready to run. What types of people should run? I know everyone on this room is always looking around and thinking, oh, it's the lawyers, it's know-it-alls, it's the policy nerds, college grads, famous people, well-connected. That's not who we're looking for. Emily's List is looking for the must-haves: integrity, passion, energy, commitment, likes people, willingness to learn, skin that can thicken and thicken and thicken, ladies. So what did we create? We sent out a bat signal across the country because we want women to run. On our website, we sent out press releases, we sent it out on digital, and I'm going to tell you now because I want you to send it out to everyone you know. We created Run to Win, and all you have to do is go on our website. You sign up to either run for office, get trained, you get a webinar, you get a political person who helps you figure out what the right thing that you should run for, or you get to sign up to help somebody that is going to run, because that's what we're going to need to do in order to get to the 50%. You go to www.runtowin.com and you'll make it happen. This is what we have currently in the House. What we want at Emily's List is to fill it so much that we need more cameras to capture our representation. Look at our women, they need you. This is what we have now, but we want you in the room. We want everyone in the room. We want you to ask everybody that you know that who should be running for office. And I know that women need to be asked at least 11 times to run for office or consider it. So my name is Michelle Ortiz. I work for Emily's List, and I'm here to recruit you. Thank you.